All right. Happy Sunday. So, this is for all of the activists against the V's. Okay? This is for all the activists against the V's. What do you propose? What do you propose that a child, when they get exposed to a virus, does? What do you think is going to happen to that virus when that kid goes out there without a mask, okay? And they're taking on viruses. And then you're saying, well, the only thing that's going to save that child is not to get a V. Or someone who's a pro-V, the only thing that's going to save that child is to get a V. Do you realize that this last week, I have been blowing out so much mucus by coughing, by blowing my nose. My dog is releasing mucus out of her fucking ass. And she coughs and sneezes. But those who are against the V's out there, who are completely way out in left field, who are, yes, probably some sort of witch, part of the 19 witches that run our society, part of the Illuminati, okay, part of the depopulation agenda, using Jilly juice as a cure, or using apothecary as a way to suppress the immune system to close up the channels. And so when you have all these viruses inside the body with no place to go except to copulate with each other, what do you think is going to happen down the road when that kid now has so much growth going on inside, and now it's going to develop different tumors, different chronic illnesses? Oh, but you're going to blame the V, right? You're not going to blame the fact that you never told people how to blow their nose and cough, because you're not coughing. You're not blowing your nose. You're not feeling these fucking viruses. That's what I'm saying. Our society is run by 19 different types of witch sects out there. And yes, it is the religious world. It is the starseed ascension world. Yes, it is all the different alchemists out there putting together all their little apothecary concoctions, and they look cute, they look fertile, they have a six-pack, they're wearing their bikinis, and also they're aging. They're teaching the younger ones how to put together antibiotics to cause then more viral babies, more mutations in the population. And then you wonder why science has to come in and commandeer and target, and then eventually the person gets tired of the side effects because the body wants to live. And even though, yes, they're trying to get rid of that teratoma or that potential growth, the person doesn't realize that the life inside the body wants to live, and you're targeting not only that invasive species, but also the person's DNA, because they're intertwined together. And so then the person goes into the apothecary world, and then they just completely finish them off. And so that's what I want to ask all you anti-V'ers. Those that are in my Jilly Juice crowd, those that are not in the Jilly Juice crowd, those that are kind of on the wings, like looking at my information and trying to find a way to counter what I'm saying. You can't counter my shit, my dears. I already got your number. I already figured out what really is going on here. And it took me to figure out what was going on in the Salem witch trials, why they were going after the different witches way back when. And then I realized, oh yes, you have a group of Puritans. And yeah, they might have been very religious, because that's where they came from, was the religious world. They want to go and practice their religion here in America, in the colonies. And so that everyone's in a homogenized circle, and somehow, wherever somebody was playing with herbs, playing with stuff, and someone wanted to have something like, who knows, get rid of this wart, I need to be fertile, or I need to have this, and they're giving them a concoction that mutated a viral DNA that caused behavioral changes in that person, and they became afflicted. Now, why didn't it just decimate the whole camp? Well, I mean, I'm sure it did on some level. But some people have different reactions to these viruses. Look around you. Look at the people who are reacting to, look at people who right now are in the throes of divorce. They're in the throes of breakups. I am seeing people around me going through so much behavioral shit that's going on that you're like, what's going on? This virus is completely messing with people's minds. And so where does this virus come from? Well, it's from a very strong antibiotic that worked against, well, different conglomerations of viruses together, and it made it so strong that it actually brought things to surface like a Pandora's box. And now it's out there in the atmosphere. We're breathing it in. I've been breathing it in. Okay? And so I've been coughing, but that's how my body is telling my body to be immune to this stuff. I realized when I was coughing so hard, just so coughing, I'm like, you know what? This is a frequency that my body is being let known that there is an invasive spirit trying to get in, and it's building up its arsenal against whatever's in the air. And then you hear the mucus, right? You hear me building up mucus, and now I'm turning into freaking socks, my husband's old socks that has holes in it, because I used up all my washcloths and they're in the laundry right now. But I am blowing my nose because when I'm coughing, that again is like a frequency. But anyone in the anti-V world and the pro-V world talking about coughing as a frequency to build up immunity? No, they're talking about shortcuts. They're talking about using apothecary stuff, even using J juice in reaction to, because yes, people are even abusing J juice and using it as a cure. I know that for sure, because it can be used as that way. Not that that was the intention, but yeah, it can be used that way. But then I realized just within the last week with me coughing, and every single time I cough, mucus comes up. And that's a frequency. When you cough, it's a frequency, not only to the thing inside your body building up a defense against an invading force, but also the people around you. People don't want to be next to you when you're coughing like that. You sound like the freaking devil. Good. I do that when I go outside and I take my dog out, and my neighbors are out there and they're all like doing whatever, and some are kind of maybe a little questionable. Who knows? I don't know what they're into. But I cough like that. I cough so hard like that, and then they're like, whoa. And they don't want to come around. They don't want to come around because they know that I'm fighting a grip of the death. And that's the thing, you guys, is you have to cough. You have to fucking cough. You have to blow your nose. Your animals have to cough and blow their nose. Taking a V or not taking a V, it's not going to save that fucking kid's life. It's not going to save that elderly person's life. It might for a minute, but what do you think is happening inside when the alimentary canal is basically atrophied and all that shit's copulating inside, merging together? It's going to become bigger and stronger. And then taking antibiotics or even doing J juice on top of that, when you've already done the resets, either you freeze them for temporary, or then you add more shit to it by mutating the viral DNA by taking an antibiotic or a painkiller or a prescription drug. And then you're adding more viral babies to the environment. And so even though, yeah, J juice might be a little bit better to cure somebody, it's not, because you're still keeping those buggers inside of you. And when there's an infection that breaks through that cure, and then you feel yet again another energy, then you stop it again, and then you take substance away. You take not only substance, you take away intelligence, you take away evolution, and then you turn into the crypt keeper. Then you see the death in the person. Then that looks like a witch. And there are a lot of witches in our society. And even, I'll tell you this, religious witch, that's why I've been so sensitive against the religious people. Because they are like witches and warlocks and wizards. They're casting spells. The scripture is the spells. So are those that are playing with the alchemy or doing, oh, blessed be and all that. That's still wizardry. And it's Sunday and we have the wizards and warlocks and witches out there all over the place. They would totally take offense to me saying this, because they already said that the pagans or other religions that have the Christianity context are the witches or warlocks. But I'm telling you, you can be, and that's what when I read that article about the 19 different witches, then it made sense, because the spells, the texts, all the different alchemy, because that's why a lot of people go into biotech, because it's alchemy. Now, the thing with the weird, the weird growths in people's bodies, and that's what probably prompted all the devil stuff and the demon stuff, which I can understand, but that's just sacred geometry, though it's not prudent for a working society to have a third head growing on your body, right? And so you have to figure out, well, why is the third head growing? Oh, because the antibiotics, the herbalists. But we have 7.9 billion people with shamans out there playing with herbs, playing with antibiotics that they're going to mutate a freaking virus that's going to cause more growth and potentially another head on somebody, unless modern medicine goes in and targets that invasive life. And then when that person gets tired of all the modern medicine targeting that invasive life and they're feeling the side effects because the body wants to grow, then again, they get handed over to the holistic people, and then they get finished off by them. And that's why you're seeing me target the holistic people a lot, because they're no different than the wing of the allopathic. And then I saw someone yesterday who was part of my group. I'm not going to say her name because I know she doesn't know any better, and I already blocked her anyways, and her friend. Actually, her friend blocked me because she was advertising her friend's apothecary home remedies of stuff to put on the lymph nodes, okay? And to block the lymph nodes with beeswax and turmeric and honey or some other, like, you know, some nice smelling essential oil. And they're like, yeah, put on your lymph nodes if you feel inflammation. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? You're going to basically block that person's ability to release. That's why people get big, large freaking balls under their freaking arms, because they're using not only antiperspirant and deodorant, but they're using the fucking essential oil, apothecary, lip balm, bag balm, whatever shit under their armpits so they can smell good, and it blocks their ability to release. And so where do these lymphocytes go when they're trying to release stuff from the body? They go back into the body and find a different way, or if all those other exits and entry points are basically atrophied, and only allow a minimal release, then they, guess what? They turn into lymphoma. They turn into multiple myeloma. They turn into cancer, disease, chronic illness, autoimmune disorders. And so I said that on that person's page, and I knew she would block me, but I wanted her to fucking block me. And I blocked her friend too, because she was advertising for a friend. And I don't care, because they are part of the fucking problem. And guess what the incentive is? It's fucking money. And they say, oh, she's trying to help people. She's trying to help people. No, you're not. You're contributing to the fucking problem. Own up to your shit. You've been part of my group. Oh no, they were trying to use my group as a platform to figure out how to market their bullshit. And those two ladies, one is a fortune teller and she plays with the apothecary stuff. The other one's a nurse. Oh, that's convenient. Those two work together because the nurses and the holistic, holistic people work together. They're friends with each other. Of course they are, because they're doing the same shit to their friends and family. And so, yeah, I got kind of pissed off yesterday, because knowing now, when my dog, when I see the mucus coming out of her, but a couple months ago, I would scratch under her chin and the wetness come out. That's also a lymph node. It's like behind her legs, under her chin, and different parts of her body. And that's where the lymphocytes are able to release, so she doesn't turn into a big ball of fucking tumors. That's what happens to animals. They get all their orifices and places that are lymph that they're trying to release, all blocked up by the lotions and by the people using antibiotics on them. And so then these dogs have these lumps on their body, tumors and fatty tumors and this and the starting of new invasive, species, and they're miserable because their hormones are also getting messed up. And then, and so then they're like, well, we have no choice but to put, little spot down because they're miserable. Well, yeah, because you used all the freaking holistic allopathic shit on them. And so now you have to fucking release, you guys. I'm telling you, even though I've been like tired and I've been coughing and blowing my nose, I have had no headache. I've had no pains. The only thing that I'm dealing with is just the coughing and the sneezing, okay, and the blowing my nose and the fatigue. That's it. And I'm not even eating that much out, like eating more than I'm supposed to, or feeling like I'm eating more than I need to. I am eating like regular. I'm not feeling a drop in sugar or feeling like I'm gonna go eat a fucking wall. I'm just eating like my regular food. And and this is where you want to end up. Because I'm telling you, with 7.9 billion people mutating these viruses, you're going to be hit with so many variants. Like so many. And if you don't reconcile with them, they will grow into another entity inside, which is going to warrant you to go and get modern medicine to come in and target it, or then give yourself away to the holistic people, and they're going to make shit worse, and then they hand you over back to the fucking allopathic, where you end up in palliative care. That's the order of operations in the holistic hospital system. And I'm very passionate because I see so many witches out there. And they're like, oh, aren't there good witches? No. Witch is a witch is a witch is a witch. You're using alchemy against a person's body that's going to cause them that growth to be even more astronomical later. You have to understand the power of salt, not to cure yourself, because you wouldn't need the salt to cure yourself if you didn't have so many people mutating a virus using the fucking alchemy, using their herbs, using all the extracts, all the different things to stop someone's evolutionary cycle. We wouldn't need the salt to cure somebody, but we don't want to be cured yet again, but you have to feel the stuff. You have to use the salt water to release the freaking demons that are trapped inside your colon and in your lymph nodes. And then when you finally feel okay, sort of, where you have some kind of relative equilibrium because you're cured, then you stop taking the J juice, you feel all the stuff, you blow your nose, you work your sphincter so you can get that stuff out, and you keep practicing blowing your nose and strengthening your first lines of defense. Okay? And then once a year, you can do an annual saltwater flush. Once a year. But the rest, you have to level up. And then when the environment calms down, you're not going to really need to do saltwater flushes that much because the environment's calmed down. But you're going to find that when the environment does calm down, it means you're not going to be blowing your nose as much. There's not going to be so many different waves of these variants like we're seeing right now. I already got another survey question from the Carnegie Mellon that I answered, and I'm like, yeah, I've been feeling this, and this. It's really not that different, but the only thing that's different is I don't get the hives anymore, Mr. Carnegie Mellon. I don't get the headaches anymore. I don't have even the drop in sugar like I did. Now it's just the fatigue, the blowing my nose, the coughing, not even the sore throat. I don't have a sore throat because nothing is camping out inside of my fucking throat. And so I'm sure they're going like, who the hell is this? And they asked me my age and the zip code and anyone who's living with me and all that. And so that way they know that in the area that I live in, there are people around me that are not wearing masks, no. People around me that don't even understand the fuck what's going on. Some people around me that are really sick around me and they're out there in public taking on stuff. And it is incubating inside of them. When it will actually break through is anybody's guess. And you don't know when that's going to be. Some people are carrying tumors in their body. And they've ignored it because it hasn't done anything to them until it does. And when it does, you don't want it to be too late. That's the thing that people don't get. And so if you are the anti-fucking V world and you want to go people donate to your goddamn cause, why don't you go and teach yourself how to blow out your freaking nose? Why don't you go teach people around you that you need to feel these viruses, not try to stop them or not try to say don't get this or don't get that, because then you're not teaching them anything except to don't do something. Oh, but they're so passionate about this. You know why? Because they're witches. There are so many witches and warlocks and wizards in the religious world as well as in the Ascension Starseed world. And there are witches all over. Am I a witch? I'm just eating fucking food. I did the whole thing with the JJ is a purification thing, and that's it. You can call it witch alchemy, fine, whatever you want to call it. But I'm not actively doing it now. So could you call me a solitary witch? Not necessarily. Because the only thing I do is I blow my nose, I work on my computer, take care of my dog, and I eat food, and that's it. I'm not putting together fucking remedies. I'm not advocating that people go and not do something in the witch world, in the alchemy world. I'm saying that, you know what you need to do is you need to figure out that you have to feel these viruses, and you have to blow your nose. Witches don't tell you how to use your own immune system. They give you herbs and extracts and alchemy type of concoctions. They don't teach you anything except drink their shit and give them money. And then they grant your every wish. Or they want you to give away your money to some organization that is full of a coven of witches. And so I got your number. And so I don't care if you don't like me. I don't care if you think I'm being disloyal, but I'm evolving. And if you're not evolving, then all you're doing is playing the same games and you're regurgitating, but put your own spin on what's already going on. Because you ain't teaching your friends and family anything new except to give money and to go take or not take a concoction. And I'm saying salt water is the catalyst to purge out those little viral demons. If you even can get your mind around the fact that these viruses are what's causing all of the cancer, disease, chronic illness, and the afflictions, even in the Salem witch trials. They cause behavioral changes. It is the Pandora's box. It is everything that is the root of Greek mythology, Greek history, the Roman, all the religious stuff, everything that you could ever be, worshiping, talking about, historical, that is the root of everything, is these viruses. And then how they get mutated by the things that attack them. And then they build a defense in their army, microbially as well as macro levelly out there. And that's the nation building. That's the depopulation agenda, when there's too many little armies and groups of people who don't know any better, just consuming. And the system is like, holy crap, you're going to kill Mother Earth. Now I get it. Okay? And so this is like I said, it's going to go over the heads of a lot of people, but now it's in your face. And I'm going to call a spade a spade. And so if you're all about the love, and the hate, and the do this and don't do that, that is part of the witchy byproduct of the hormone manipulation. Because that's what gets people to be lured in, is through the love and the hate. Now you got to have some kind of intellectual thought process. Beauty is beautiful for a second, but beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So what else do you have to offer besides beauty, people? It's not all about being beautiful. If that happens to happen because you're balanced and you're teaching your kid and your family how to blow their nose, and it's not always glamorous and beautiful, then great. But beauty is not the only thing, and love is not the only thing to work from. Okay, there's a lot more to life than that. And I wish people would expand their capacity to be besides just one or two hormones out of their body, that they have some other thing to offer, not only society, but they're also to themselves and their kids. Because the apple does not fall far from the tree. And so you see then, the offspring only repeat certain hormonal reactions because the parents could only promote certain hormonal reactions, as well as activism. And so when you're out there protesting against something that you think is a said enemy, the kid and you are ignoring your own lines of defense. And I'm telling you, when you're blowing your nose and you're coughing and you feel like shit because you haven't got to the point where I'm going, where it's just blowing your nose and coughing, if you're not feeling that, then it's incubating inside. And it's causing people to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And who knows what kind of monsters are going inside the body that's going to come eventually and rear its ugly head. And when that happens, God help you. Literally, God help you. Bye.